Once upon a time, there was a young girl named Lily who lived in a small town. Lily lived in an old farmhouse with her family. However, one night, a massive storm hit the town, and the power went out. Lily's room was filled with darkness. Lily lit a trembling candle to illuminate her room, and the shadows began to dance on the walls. She felt that something strange was happening. The door to her bedroom creaked open slowly, and a shadowy figure crept in through the gap. Lily held her breath, observing any movement in her room. There was a dark silhouette standing right in front of her door. Her heart started racing as the shadow inched closer to her room. Frozen with fear, Lily couldn't move as the shadow approached. She could see it more clearly. It could have been the ghost of a deceased relative or maybe a burglar in their house. However, the slow approach of the shadow and the inability to see its face only heightened Lily's fear. Eventually, the shadow reached the side of Lily's bed and bent down towards her. Even though she couldn't see its face, it gently caressed her face with its hand. Lily felt as though she might faint at any moment. For a moment, everything seemed to return to normal. The electricity came back on, and her room was illuminated once more. The shadow was gone. Lily thought she had just experienced a nightmare, but the cold touch on her face was still a vivid memory. The next morning, she told her family about the terrifying night, but they dismissed it as a child's nightmare. However, Lily could never forget the experience. A few weeks later, Lily fell ill and quickly deteriorated. Her family, filled with worry, rushed her to the small town's hospital. As Lily lay in her sick, she dozed off one night in the nurse's room when the lights went out in the room and the corridors grew silent. "Lily, I will take you from this world, but I will be with you." Tears welled up in Lily's eyes as she cried out in terror. Nurses and her family rushed into the room, but the shadow disappeared instantly this time. Lily truly fainted. A short while later, Lily passed away in the hospital. However, after her death, many people in the town claimed to have seen Lily's ghost. People began to believe that the old farmhouse in their town was still haunted by her and the horrifying shadow that accompanied her. As a result, the town's residents, haunted by the memory of that dreadful night, started to avoid the old farmhouse in their midst. Years passed, but the town's residents still believed in the existence of Lily's ghost. Some claimed to have seen her, while others made a point to stay away from the old farmhouse. The town remained shrouded in the stories of Lily's ghost and that dreadful night. One night, a young man named Michael, who lived in the town, decided to visit the old farmhouse with his friends. Michael wanted to see Lily's ghost, and his friends joined him on this adventure. They walked through the dark streets of the town until they reached the farmhouse. The door creaked open, but there was an eerie silence. As they stepped inside, they realized that the room was dark and cold. Suddenly, in the corner of the room, the terrifying shadow reappeared. Michael and his friends recoiled in fear. The shadow approached slowly and said, "Lily didn't set me free. Now I am with her." Michael and his friends tried to flee, but the door had closed, and the shadow was following them. With each step, the shadow grew larger and darker. Finally, the shadow cornered them, and with its long, cold fingers, it touched their skin. Michael and his friends screamed and fell to the ground. When they opened their eyes, the dark shadow in the farmhouse had vanished. However, Michael and his friends were forever changed. They felt a heavy curse upon them. They were no longer the same. The power of the shadows had claimed them years past, but Michael and his friends still roam the town. Those who saw them couldn't recognize the creatures they had become. The town's residents were now afraid to leave their homes at night, for the shadowy figures could be watching them at any moment, and the old farmhouse in the town had become the most dreaded place of all. The curse of Lily's ghost haunted it, and the townsfolk believed that the darkness would forever hold sway over their town.